Okay, listen to me. My name is Elias, and I was the town historian. I'm frantically recording this explainer of the Sovereign's Manifesto right now, because if you just go and look outside your window, you'll see the stars are literally beginning to die. One by one, they're just winking out into absolute nothingness. So this isn't some theoretical text we're analyzing today, okay? This is a real-time archival record of a cosmic horror that is unfolding right above us. And honestly, it's going to be right outside our doors any minute now. The manifesto kicks off with this incredibly chilling observation. It says, "Observe the heavens through that rusted star finder, and you will see that your eternal lights are merely guttering candles in a drafty tomb." It forces us to confront this deeply terrifying reality. I mean, everything we thought was permanent, everything we've looked up to for guidance since the dawn of time, it's expiring. We aren't watching some natural astronomical phenomenon here. We are actively watching the Sovereign of the Void blow out the candles of our entire universe. So let's get right into Act 1, the cartography of collapse.
The text makes it absolutely clear that our cosmos are no longer governed by physics, but by this sort of celestial rot. For eons, humanity has held on to this incredibly naive, mortal view, right? We look to the night sky, we seek eternal hope, we draw our little constellations and try to map out our futures. But the Sovereign's view? It is entirely different. Where we see this beautiful canvas of light, he sees a diseased patient. He actually describes our universe as a bruised lung, just exhaling the darkness we've spent millennia trying to ignore. It is a profoundly grim diagnosis. The stars aren't dying of old age. They're succumbing to a sickness.
And you might be wondering why now. Well, the text states, the geometry of hubris aligns with the void, meaning the Sovereign's arrival isn't just some random cosmic accident. No, it's a calculated, completely inevitable response to eons of our own collective arrogance. We built our huge empires, we wrote our grand histories, truly believing we were these permanent fixtures of existence. But all that time, the angles of our pride were simply aligning, perfectly, with the emptiness that was waiting to consume us.
Which brings us to Act 2, Rise of the Silhouette. Looking down at the cobblestone streets from my window right now, I can actually see this phase starting. The Sovereign's herald, the jester, is out there preparing the canvas, and the mechanics of it are just terrifying. He simply snaps his fingers, and instantly a shadow detaches from the ground. It rises with this completely liquid, predatory grace. It completely stops being a flat, harmless reflection. Instead, it shifts into this three-dimensional truth of impossible geometry. It becomes this faceless silhouette. That's the Sovereign's ink-stained apprentice, and it moves with this horrific, independent purpose. Now, the grim logic behind this nightmare is that the Sovereign views himself as a healer. He thinks this is his ultimate medical procedure. But as the text strictly dictates, the final surgery requires an untethered soul. So the Sovereign can't actually cure us of our existence until our shadow, our literal connection to the physical world, is harvested first by his apprentice. That leads us into Act 3, the skinning of the shroud. Outside, that apprentice is moving from house to house with the precision of a clockwork nightmare. And the crucial thing to understand here is what he's actually taking from us. He's taking our shadows, which the text defines as primary ink. See, we always thought shadows were just an absence of light, right? We were so wrong. They are the heavy, oily sediment of literally every sin we've ever committed in the dark. They are the actual physical substance of our forgotten memories, our deepest secrets, our whole accumulated history. Our shadows are the ink that the story of humanity was written with. The text describes this harvest with just visceral dread. The apprentice reaches down and peels these shadows away as if he's skinning a bitter fruit right off our feet. And as he does this, he drinks in the sheer density of our human history. What's left behind is this terrible lightness. Just imagine for a second having the physical weight of your entire past, all your memories, all your flaws, ripped away from you. Our mortal frames were never ever meant to endure that kind of hollow, unbearable emptiness. Then the Sovereign twists the knife with this chilling philosophical question. Are you losing your soul or simply returning borrowed darkness? It completely subverts the very nature of our existence. To him, we aren't victims being robbed. In the Sovereign's eyes, we are simply debtors returning the dark matter we used to paint our lives. We're just finally giving it back to its rightful owner.
Okay. Act 4, the final cosmic surgery.
The street outside my window is completely dead quiet now. The apprentice is returning to his master, bloated with a billion lost stories. The text details exactly what happens to those stolen shrouds.
They get folded into the deep obsidian blue pleats of the sovereign's robes. His vestments actually become the shifting tapestry of lost lives. Every single sin, every memory, every life ever lived gets reduced to a shimmering, cold, metallic light woven right into the fabric of the void.
And then come the surgical tools. It's horrific. The sovereign takes a staff of blackened bone. He dips it into that gathered, heavy pool of our shadow ink, and with deliberate, incredibly measured strokes, he begins to strike our names from the ledger of 1,000 cities. This is the ultimate act of erasure. He's not just killing us, he's meticulously crossing out the fact that we ever existed in the first place.
Which brings us to the conclusion. The blank page.
I need you to completely shift your perspective for a second. Move away from the suffocating darkness and try to imagine a stark, blinding emptiness. Our world used to be a canvas sick with a fever of history, totally cluttered with the messy, oily ink of humanity. But the cure? The cure is a pristine, hollow white page. The sovereign views himself purely as a surgeon, completely curing the disease of history itself.
And that is the ultimate, tragic horror of the sovereign's arrival. The world he leaves behind isn't some dark, gothic wasteland. No, it is brightly lit and perfectly clean. The sun is going to shine forever, but there won't be a single smudge, no structure, no person, and no memory left to cast even a tiny shadow. It's just a perfectly sterile, silent reality.
The manifesto leaves us with his final, piercing truth. You were never afraid of the dark. You were afraid of the one who comes to take the dark back. And as I'm reading this aloud to you, I can literally hear the clicking of clockwork on my own stairs. The apprentice is at my door. The dark is finally being reclaimed.
Because when the sovereign of the void completes his measurements, what actually remains of us? Absolutely nothing. He reclaims the ink of our existence, the very medium of our history. We get totally erased from the canvas, leaving behind a world with no stories left to tell. Thank you for listening to this explainer. If there's anyone still out there to hear this, please remember us.